Did you know 1 in 6 children face some kind of mental health concern each year? And help is too often in short supply, especially in rural parts of Idaho. This Thursday, September 26th, Boise State Public Radio is holding a special event in Marsing to talk about rural mental health issues, and we'd like to invite you to come, especially if you or someone you know lives or works in Owyhee or Canyon counties. The event is free and open to the public, and dinner will be provided. So meet us at Marsing High School this Thursday, September 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. for an important panel conversation on building connections between teens, families, and their support networks. Find event details at boisestatepublicradio.org/events.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector, Idaho's daily news. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. This morning, we've got stories on Boise school officials opening up more conversation about mental health, a stunning new study that shows that Idaho is among the states with the least amount of social support to children and families. And big news for local brewers who are actually worried about leaving glasses empty and their taps dry. And you won't want to miss our Red Panda update. It's Wednesday, September 11th, and here are today's stories. A new study shows states with the strictest abortion laws also offer the least amount of social support to children and families. Idaho is no exception, as Julie Lucatar reports.
Of the 21 most restrictive states, the study shows Idaho provides the worst access to health care, paid maternal leave, and food and child care assistance. In their research, co-author Katie Watson, a bioethicist at Northwestern University, and her colleagues tried to answer the question:
do the states that are banning abortion actually value children and motherhood?
The study looked at the percentage of people living in maternal care deserts, Medicaid eligibility for pregnant women, and income requirements for families to receive social assistance.
The states that are most likely to ban abortions are also the states that are most likely to have disproportionate numbers of impoverished people of reproductive age who are the more likely to need abortion care and have the worst track record for funding and supporting impoverished children and families.
The study also found Idaho makes it harder for children and mothers to qualify for state-funded help and offers less financial support for those who qualify. Watson says that's hypocritical.
When people say that they want to ban abortion because they care about children, but the pro-child attitude seems to begin at conception and then end there as well, what it suggests to me is that there are other agendas being driven.
She says the study shows abortion bans are perhaps not about helping children,
and more about the control of women and pregnant people and enforcing a social norm that women's primary or obligatory role is to be mothers.
Studies show about half the women who seek abortions live under the poverty line, and 75% report struggling to pay for basic needs. Idaho law bans abortions in all cases, with exceptions for rape and incest and when the life of the mother is endangered. Julie Lucatar, Boise State Public Radio News.
This week, school officials in Boise met with families. They're continuing their conversation about mental health, and it was a bit more formal as the school board has been working with the group Communities for Youth, that to start suicide prevention programs and develop new curricula throughout the district. Sophia Darlings tells us more.
As part of Suicide Prevention Week, the Boise School District just started the Signs of Suicide curriculum to all secondary schools from 7th to 12th grade. The program is training faculty to increase mental health literacy around depression and suicide while also supporting students. District Counseling Supervisor Jason Shanks says the program helps faculty deal with a student who might be struggling with suicidal thoughts.
Having a very distinct acronym, it's called ACT, so Acknowledge, Care, and Tell a Trusted Adult, and really making sure they know who those trusted adults are and making sure that that's done in a timely fashion.
The district is also launching a program called the Hope Squad, where students support their peers and help prevent social isolation. Secondary school students in the district can take this as an elective. School social worker Andrea Garrity says the program is a dedicated time for students to recognize their strengths and learn ways to cope with stress to take care of themselves.
Several schools are teaching the community resiliency model just as a foundation for how to share that kind of heavy information with their peers if they're approached.
Shank says he hopes to bring more parents into the conversation around mental health during the school year. Sophia Darlings, Boise State Public Radio News.
Craft beer has boomed over the last 15 years, but brewing takes a lot of water. And as Troy Oppie reports, the city of Boise recently had local brewers worried that a restructuring of how breweries pay for wastewater could have left glasses empty and taps dry.
On average, craft beer is produced with a 7-to-1 ratio of water to beer. More efficient breweries typically use less water, according to the Brewers Association. But that means in most places, for every keg of finished product, there's 6 kegs of wastewater headed down the drain.
We're always trying to learn and understand more about all the industries that are sending water to us.
Heather Buchanan is Boise's Chief Public Works Administrator. She says in addition to volume, they watch for dissolved oxygen, suspended solids, phosphorus, and ammonia levels. The city realized years ago local brewers weren't necessarily charged appropriately when they initially connected to the wastewater system. After the worst of the pandemic, the city went back to brewers to reassess and calculated what they should have paid from opening.
We were looking at $70,000.
Colin Rudine is founder of community-owned Boise Brewing. He says the amount came as a shock, and assessments were large enough that some operations, including his, would have been unable to pay.
There would be a whole bunch of breweries out of business immediately.
Larger breweries got larger assessments, some well into 6 figures. Buchanan says the city, which wants growth to pay for growth, calculated those assessments based on multiple factors, but did try to level the playing field for breweries which came online at different times and in different situations. But brewers balked, arguing they paid what they were told was the proper amount at the time.
What we thought we were trying to do to be very fair to all breweries, we realized wasn't as fair as we were trying to be.
In a meeting at City Hall with local brewers last Friday, the city agreed to drop assessments for previous years and move forward with wastewater fees based on a brewery's 2023 production volume. Brewery leaders like Rudine and Bear Island Brewing's Beth Bechtel told me brewers were satisfied with that outcome and appreciated the communication and transparency from the city during the process. But they also know they'll face higher bills for their wastewater in the future. Buchanan says some are trying to get an agreement done before rates go up October 1st.
Since we didn't raise rates since 2014, you would expect quite a change. So we will have a rate increase October 1st of 34%, and it's going to increase the next 2 years by about the same amount.
Garden City and Eagle share Boise's wastewater treatment network. Buchanan says her peers in those cities are doing their own wastewater evaluations for local breweries. Troy Oppie, Boise State Public Radio News.
Well, Boise Mayor Lauren McLean is in Gorongosa National Park, Africa, this morning. It is a personal trip, but indeed, Gorongosa has close ties to Idaho. The last major expansion in Sioux Boise was the Gorongosa National Park exhibit. That opened in 2019. So it was quite appropriate that late yesterday, when the mayor was in Gorongosa, Sioux Boise updated City Council here in Boise on what's to come at the zoo. Of great interest next is the now under construction Red Panda visit. Gene Peacock is the director at Sioux Boise.
And I just was on site this morning, how much it's changed. So our Red Panda complex, this building is going to be about a 1,700 square foot holding facility with red pandas. It'll be very immersive once the vegetation all grows up. So it's going to be a really, really nice extension off of our plaza.
It's pretty exciting. The exhibit could be finished by, well, maybe 2026. Then there's a small animal kingdom coming. Still to come are plans for a new penguin exhibit and a snow leopard complex. Those designs will begin to be put into place next year. And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. We'll see you back here tomorrow. To stay in touch with the news between now and then, check out BoiseStatePublicRadio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. Thanks for listening.